Hello and welcome back to Malon's Fishing Adventures. I am out in the garage and I'm going to show you how I make weights. So I use I don't know if you can see it, it's all lead's warming up slowly. I use a old pan. Ow, that's fucking hot. I use an old pan. I've had this for many years, that I melt my lead in, and I've got a normal camping cooker stove, portable one, with the gas canisters that hold these type of canisters. So I melt my lead in here, and once it's all melted, because I am melting some more lead because I'm making a load of weights up for someone. So I've got my mould here. These are plain like bomb weights. So I've got them in 5.5, 2.5, 4.5, and I think it's 3.5. I use, for my plain leads, I use like a little, don't know how well you can see it, a little clip thing. I'll show you how it goes in a minute for them. And I've got my mould for my grippers. So they are made in half. So you put your tail, like your pigtail, in the mould. It's the same as the other ones. And you shut it over, make sure that's down, and then you clamp it. I've got a vise here, a small little vise, and you clamp it in. And that top hole here is where you pour your lead in. And you don't pour it in fast because it just go everywhere, and you don't pour it in slow. It's got to be like a steady pace. That will put your melted lead into your mould. I'll show you how it's all done, but after you poured it in, you leave it a little while, just enough for it to cool down, because lead has got a low boiling point, so it melts quickly, and then it sets solidifies, goes solid, basically. It goes hard quite quickly. It will be hot to touch still, because of course it's lead, melted lead. I don't know why they say melting very well. Get that in there, get in there. So yeah, and then what you do, you take it out of the vise, give it a little tap on the bench. That will unbreak the seal of the mould from your weight, and then that's your weight made. I do advise to do it in a well ventilated area. I'm doing it in my garage. Wear a mask. I don't, because health and safety and all that. I don't. Gloves, good pair of gloves. I use these, the double layered. I've got 2 layers here, or I've got my welding gloves, because it does get very hot. I would highly recommend wearing a mask, because lead, once it gets into your lungs, you cannot get rid of it. It sticks to all your little trees in your lungs, and it can affect your breathing. So if you do have breathing issues or whatever, I would highly recommend using a mask. It's a bit like asbestos in a way. It will you can't, like I said, you can't get it out of your lungs. Once it's in your lungs, it's in your lungs forever. But just be very careful. Do it in a dry It's alright. Do it in a dry environment, because you get any driplets of water into your lead, it can explode, and then that's hot melted lead flying everywhere. So you have to be very careful while you're making lead weights. Make sure your lead is dry as well, because it's be the same principle, it will explode. I've got a load of lead here. I think I've got some more elsewhere hidden. I think I've got a load of old small weights here that I can melt down if I need to. But I'm making I'm making about 50 weights today. I'm making 10 plain bombing weights, and I'm making 40 gripper weights for a mate. And I'll probably, yeah, I'm gonna have to make a load up for myself soon, because I lost loads of weights in my last video from Hussin. So it does work out cheaper making it if you can get hold of lead, because lead's the most expensive part of making your weights. With just all the gobbins, like your tails, your wire for your grips, your little tubes for the rolling grips, there's your tails. Just that alone, you can make a weight up for about 10 to 20p. But it's the other stuff that goes with it that makes it more expensive, like a mould for your leads. They're about 30 quid plus, depends on what you get. I've got a load that I've accrued over many years from my dad and from my fishing, because my dad used to make his own weights as well. So I've got loads of different moulds. I've got like Gemini moulds, I've got bull moulds, I've got as you can see behind me, I've got 2 ounce bomb weights, 1 ounce. I'll show you. So I've got like 2 ounce bombs, 1 ounce bombs. So these 1 ounces I use for my mullet fishing, which I will be powder coating. Got my 2 ounce bombs that I use for my spinning stuff, or random stuff that I use for my eeling. I don't care. I make 4 ounce grippers. Well, I can make any size grippers, but I've got 4 ounce grippers. These are the Geminis. I can make the Geminis as well. 4 ounce. These are my 6 ounces that I'm making today, so 175 grams. I can make these as well, 8 ounces as well, because with the Gemini ones, you buy the tails and you buy the tails, and then you buy the top caps, which you got to make. They can be a bit pain in the ass sometimes. So you can make a different weights up, so you can go from 1 ounce up to 8, 10 ounces, whatever you got. And I've got 3.5 ounces for my forum baits when I go estuary work. I bought these, so I don't have the mould. I don't think I've got a mould for them, but I've got rolling leads. Got all sorts. I've got ball weights for when I go float fishing. I've got loads of different stuff. I think I'm running out of gas, so I might have to change the gas canister over. That's why it's taking forever to melt. So got an array of different weights that I can use, and that's how many different moulds. There's so many moulds out there that you can use. My powder coat, I just buy a cheap powder coating off eBay. So that's my white that I'm going to powder coat my 1 ounce weights with, so I can use it so it looks more like bread when it's on the floor, or on the lake bed or river bed, or whatever you want to call it, when I go mullet fishing. I've got a bit of orange here that I'm going to put in do a few of my 3.5 ounces, so it's like a bit more of a tractor. So yeah, that is everything I use for my leads. Make sure I've got some old cheap snips, they might work, I don't know. If not, I've got some better snipper snips, because once you make your weight, you will have like a, I hope that doesn't hit my fucking car. A lorry, massive lorry's just gone down the road. Good fun turning around down there. But yeah, you end up with a massive bit of a tail bit at the end, so you've got to chop off. Then you can chuck that tail bit back into the the pot pan to melt up. Always make sure I've got an old tin, because you will, after your lead's melted, you will have scum, all the old dirt and the scum from the lead that you melt in. If you're using brand new clean lead, it's not so bad, you probably won't have much scum. But as I'm using all old pipe work and lead work, probably stolen many years ago, but like got lights of that, it's all lead from like roofing. I gather it's from roofing, because my dad used to have a friend that did roofing. You got pipe work, that's old lead pipe from when they used to do, I think, yeah, gas. I think they did water in there as well, I'm not sure. From when my uncle used to be on the roads, on the gas works, he used to get the lead. But that was many years ago, so we've got plenty to last us. There's a load of scum, so you get all this scummy bit. You've got to get that out, because otherwise it'll make your lead weight minging. I have got a bit of like everyone says, my family says I've got asbestos hands in a way. That's probably many years of welding and dealing with hot engine parts from when I was on the tools, or I'm just generally weird. So let's try this. So we do, that's all my lead melted now. So you get it, your pan, and you slowly pour it into your mould. So that goes solid a little bit, that's already gone hard. Well, hard enough for me. Sometimes it doesn't always go to plan on the first mould, because the mould itself is cold. It is advised, I advise to warm it up a little bit. I haven't today, because my blowtorch is out of gas. So you get your mould, take it out, tap it on the workbench. So what I do, I don't know how well you can see any of this, then I get my tag end, get my size I want, because it's got 4 different sizes, so I can only make one up at a time. Give it that little pinch just to squeeze it in a bit better. Put your tag end in, and then put your weight on, your other side in, and then put it back in your clamp. So the time that's done, you've done that, you'll find it's enough time so you can touch your weight. So that is a weight made. And that's your tag ends you chop off. Hopefully say hopefully. Chop off your tag end, put that back in, let that melt, and that's your weight made. So that's one 5.5 ounce weight. I will be making my grip weights, so I'll bring you back when I start doing them. I've got to do 9 of these bomb weights because he wanted 10 5.5s and then they're having 40 grippers. So I'm going to carry on making these and I'll bring you back when I make the grip weights. We'll see you in a bit, guys. Gambinos, I'll bring you back to update you. I'm now making the grip weights. So mould is in the clamp, same principle. Slowly pour your lead into your mould, so that now that's gone, literally that's how quick it will dry. I take my pliers, take the wire, these wire bits out. Don't know if you can see them very well. This is where your wire grips go through. Take your mould out, tappy tap, and that's what you make. So you take that bit off. So I'll get my wire tag end, put it into the mould, put it into the vise. Try and make it central as you can because it stops all the stops some of the overspill. You get a little bit of overspill. It doesn't bother me, but as I'm making weights for someone else, try and make it a bit more professional. That's the wires back in, little tags for your holes, for your wires. I always, every time before I pour, I try and take as much scum off the top as I can. Because you always get scum, no matter how long it burns for, or melts for, whatever you want to call it. And then you pour it in. When your mould warms up, it does end up being a quicker process. It's just taking these tag things out for your wire. It takes the longest. And that's another one made. They do get hot, so you've got to be careful, very careful, because you're dealing with very hot stuffs. So I'm saying stuffs because you're dealing with your mould that gets hot. The lead, of course, is hot out because you're melting it. Your prongs get hot as well, as you could tell. And it's simply just keep processing what you're doing, repeating the process until you're done all the weights you've made up. And then once you've finished, turn it all off, stay with your lead until it's cooled in the pan, because anything can happen if that falls over, whatever, so you've got to stay with it. But don't forget to take the prongs out, Jamesy Poo. Take the prongs out. Might have to put my other gloves on because this is getting very hot, and it does go through these gloves. So yeah, that is the process of making your weights up. And yeah, it's definitely getting hot because it's melting my glove onto the mould a bit. So that's the process of making your weights. So I'll bring you back in a minute when I start putting the prongs through and the wires, the little plastic rollers, and go from there. See you in a bit. Right, hello Bambinos. I've made all my weights up. So I've got all them made up. So now I am putting the tails on. So you get a bit of, it's like a little bit of length of wire. Don't know why you can see that. You get your weight, and because of those little prongy bits, you put it for the hole. So I've got a measurement up on my worktop, so I can measure and bend like so. So I'll do a weight, and I'll show you. So bent. So that's all my tags on. So what I do now is I get these little rollers and put them on the legs, and then I bend it around so it's in kind of in position, and then do the other legs. So that's my weight made. So that is now ready with the, don't know why you can see it, the rollers are there and it's all ready to go. So with these I'm just putting an elastic band around the legs, and that is the weight made. So that is the weight made, and then what I do is when I get to the beach I will bend the legs out by the roller to the spread I want. So I've got a low length to make up. Yeah, so I've got a low length made up to make up, and so that's how I make my weights. That is plain bombs and grippers. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe. This is a how-to video on making weights in my garage. So it's easy to do, but like I said at the beginning of the video, you've got to be safe. Use a mask, or it'll do it in a well ventilated area, no moisture whatsoever, and yeah, it's easy enough to do. As long as you can get the lead, all your stuff, the molds aren't cheap, the extra stuff is cheap, and then you can make your own leads. That's if you want to go down that road of making your own weights. So this is Man Fishing Adventures. Thank you for watching me do some leads, and I hope it's helped. Drop me a message if you need any help on making them, and I'll see you soon on a beach near, well, say near you, on a beach somewhere or on the rocks. Who knows where I'm fishing next. See you soon.